Good morning and welcome, Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason on this Monday. I hope you guys had a great weekend out there. Got out on the golf course, played a little golf. You know what? It's expensive again. Well, it's always, it's been getting more expensive, but now it's golf season in Arizona. Yeah, I don't know. Getting on a golf course for under $100, good luck. I mean, that's just crazy. Just didn't used to be that way. I mean, the fancy courses, sure. Just regular, plain old golf courses that, it's things have gone horribly, horribly wrong out there. And, of course, we had the big fight. Yeah, my wife and I, we went to dinner, and there was a bar that was showing it was free on Netflix, and thankfully so. But hey, let's have some fun, go out, have a drink or two, and I'll say this: the two fights before Tyson and Paul were actually really good. I mean, it was good action. The ladies, there was these two ladies that fought. If you didn't see that, go. If you got Netflix, go watch those fights. The two fights before the Tyson fight were good. And then they lead up and they come out and it's just so funny. Everyone, when Tyson's coming, everyone's clapping and cheering in the bar, right? It was a bunch of. It was so funny. Because there was a bunch of 40 and 50-year-olds, 40-something and 50-something. It was a throwback to our youth, right? Here's Mike Tyson, and he comes in, he's got the towel on, and then the quote-unquote fight started, and that's when all the action came to an end. Let's face it, I'll give Mike Tyson, he's 58 years old, and he looked 58 years old. Listen, don't get me wrong.
Well.
Right? I'll say this, from like the waist up, he looked really good. His legs, they're not there. They're gone. He can't move. But in any event,
I have a different take on that.
In any event, the guy made $20 million, right? Hey, why not?
Look, I would say Jake Paul is the one that messed that fight up. Didn't he brag for months how he's going to knock this man out? So at the beginning of the fight, Tyson had the best movement. Jake Paul looked frightened. Did you see that at the beginning of the first round? He was running away from him.
The first round, right? The first round, there's semblance of Tyson. And I remember I was texting my boys, and at one, I forget which round it was. I even texted my kids. I said, I don't even know if Mike threw a punch that round. I don't know that he did, right? And it got pretty more. I even made the comment that I felt like Paul could have knocked him out if he wanted to, but he wants other paydays, so you don't want to knock him out. Don't knock him out. You want some other old guy to get,
I don't know if Jake Paul could have knocked him out. I think so. So I'm not a huge fight fan, but I used to like Foreman. And when George Foreman knocked out Michael Moore, he was undefeated champion. He won the big payday with famous Foreman, right? And what happened is George Foreman kept, provoking him to come in, and Michael Moore wanted this idea, I'm going to knock out the old man, right? And Michael Moore walked into it. George Foreman laid him out. I think Mike Tyson came in that first round. I mean, Jake Paul was running from him. You got to look at it. The guy was afraid. Then the fight settled, and Jake Paul was just going in tagging. He was earning points. He just wanted to win the fight. He wasn't going to get in close. Foreman could have knocked him out, but Jake Paul wasn't going to allow him to have that shot. That's what I saw. That's why you had the boring fight, Joe.
Right.
It was boring because Jake Paul did not want to go in there. He didn't want to go in.
Two different views on the same fight. So there you have the fight breakdown. And let's just say that the whole time I just kept thinking, at least this time, because, I was telling this story last week about how it got to the point where we stopped buying the Tyson pay-per-views because it's like, okay, there's only the last 90 seconds, right? We're not buying that stuff. At least this time I had the same. It was free on Netflix. It didn't cost me anything. They didn't charge me to get in. I'm okay with it. And by the way, I'm going to say this. I have a new favorite beverage. When I go out now, decaf. And decaf is key here because, I drink 1 cup of coffee a day, and I can't have any more. I just can't. Decaf espresso martinis is now my drink. Now I only can have one. They're too sweet, but they're very delicious. So there you go. That's it'll make crappy bar food taste better. Our toll free number 800-951-0592. The website at allamericangold.com. The action for this week, we're going to get PMIs out. That's not really a move the needle type thing. Philly Fed, same thing. Everybody's going to be looking for who is going to be the pick for the Treasury, right? Who's going to be the nominee for the Treasury? The favorite, in my opinion, was John Paulson. He backed out, and now there's a Soros guy, Basent, and then there's this other. What is his name? Howard Lutnick, I believe, is how you pronounce it, and I don't know. I'll say this. I think Wall Street wants the Soros guy of all things, but Elon Musk, he says pick the other guy, and someone even said, gosh, and I hope this one isn't true, Larry Kudlow. Yeah, no, pass on that. But those are going to be the big market players this week. Stay with us. 800-951-0592. A quick look in at the markets here. The Dow's down 25. The S&P's up 25. The NASDAQ up 160. The 10-year note calm right now, 444 on the 10-year note. It's been as high as 449. So we'll see how it finishes here today. Crude oil is up a couple of dollars, mostly due to, I guess, as a going-away president, Joe Biden decided, okay, here, Ukraine, you can now use U.S. missiles to hit inside of Russia. Kind of pointless, right? Let the new guy deal with it, but, that's politics. The dollar mixed today, the yen at 155, the euro and the pound gaining some strength today, so a little bit of dollar weakness there. The gold markets and the silver markets roaring today. Right now, gold's up 50, 26, just under 26.15, $2,615. Silver's up $1, no surprise, right? 31.20. As it looks like, and again, we thought, hey, we got to pull. Let's face it, we needed a pullback. Got to have some. We got it. The whole Trump euphoria thing. Now I think we're back to focusing on, okay, where are we headed? Where are things going globally here? How much debt is going to really be added? And, of course, a little bit closer to World War III with the Biden administration's announcement today. Be more diversified. We keep telling you. You cannot afford to have all your eggs in the debt markets. You just can't. I think bond yields, they're not going lower, at least for right now. When we look at, okay, between now and the end of the year, they're not going lower between now and the end of the year. Really, we'll have to wait for Trump probably to get in office to see how high they're going to be. If you've got the big IRAs, and so many of you do, you did a great job. Hey, I worked a long time. I climbed the corporate ladder. I was responsible. I put this money away. Diversify it right now. Take some of it, get a gold and silver IRA. We can help you do that. Call our friends at Y Refi. Here's the great thing when you do either of those two things. There's no penalties. You don't pay taxes. None of that. It's just some paperwork, some trustee to trustee transactions, and you get diversified. Over at Y Refi, up to 10.25% fixed rate of return. Not correlated to Wall Street. Listen, we don't know. Right? We could have a melt-up on Wall Street. We could. Right? Spending goes crazy. Right? All the asset classes, gold's flying, silver's flying, stocks are flying, the 10-year note roaring, right? Going Jamie Dimon. It could happen. Also could be the other way. We're spending tons of money. Yields keep on rising. And Wall Street is crashing because of it. We don't know. That's why you're diversified. That's why you call Y Refi. 10.25% return, that's pretty damn good. Not correlated to Wall Street, not correlated to the stock market, doesn't care about the Treasury Secretary. Heck, it doesn't care that Donald Trump's president. They don't care. It's a pretty cool feeling. And you can use it as income. Supplement your Social Security. You can compound it. You can do whatever you want. There's no fees. Yeah, I know. Sounds too good to be true. That's why you got to call them and talk to them. They'll lay it up. Once you hear them, you'll be like, oh, now I get it. Makes total sense. Check them out. InvestYRefi.com. That's the word invest, the letter Y, REFY.com. Or call them at 888-YREFI24. 888-973-3924. And Jason, I'm not even sure what to go with first. I'm going to go with this first. Do you know that there's a cruise out there? It's a cruise line I haven't really heard of, but Via Residence. They're offering a cruise for all the people out there that have Trump derangement syndrome. So listen, whoopee, you don't have to leave the country. Okay, you don't have to go to Canada or Mexico or wherever. You can take this cruise. They offer, listen to this, a 1 year. You just need a 1 year. They're calling it the Escape from Reality Cruise. A 2 year is it's a midterm selection. The 3 year, which is everywhere but home, and last but not least, it's a year skip forward, a 4 year skip forward. So you can just leave for the whole 4 years that Trump is in office. Jason, they go to 425 ports, 140 different countries. Think about it. You can find your next place to live. And guess what? We're okay with it. We're okay. Go. It'll be okay. Here's the thing, though, that I thought was shocking. This actually may be something more, maybe is this what more and more people may do? Do you know what they charge a year? Now this is the starting price, so this is probably, the small room and whatnot. But Jason, it's only $40,000. $40,000 a year. Think about it. Right? Hey, wait a minute. I don't have sell your stuff. There's no mortgage payments. They feed you, right? I don't know if the free drinks come with that. I don't know. But it's only $40,000 a year.
Yeah, I've heard this. My wife had brought to my attention some of these. I think it's just not just this one company. I think several cruise lines have this ability where you can actually live probably a higher standard of life by constantly just being on the ship. Because I have a feeling this is being spurred on that maybe these cruise ships aren't quite able to keep the ships full. So you advertise it this way, and you have certain spots that are full, and I don't know. You have someone living on the ship, right? You get the people that do the cruise once a year. Every time they show up, that same person's there. It's almost like a piece of the entertainment. The wacky guy that lives on the ship comes up and it probably doesn't dress very good. Is wearing the old torn bathrobe on deck.
He's probably got the shirt you're wearing on right now. Probably wears that kind of a shirt, right?
So I just this is going to be a new way of living. I just saw a cruise ship in Europe where they go down the river, and you don't have to. You get to see more sights, but everything is on the ship, right? The rent on the ship apparently is cheaper than anything on land. It's an interesting statement, Joe.
Yeah, I was like, wow, $40,000. That's not that much. I mean, if you've got think about this. If you've got a mortgage payment that's $4,000 a month. Right, and of course, you got taxes. You got to pay your utilities, right? You got to food, all that. I mean, hey, who knows? Maybe that will be the new wave of retirement. Is you go and live on a ship, right? And they'll probably have your crappy ships, right, where maybe they can do it for $30,000, something like that. I'm sure they're going to come up with something. Why not have this thing where you just sign over your Social Security checks, right? They just go right into hey, we'll just take it over for you. Who knows? I don't know. But yes, the Trump derangement cruise. I encourage any of you suffering from that, go ahead and sign up. See you later. By the way, 36 trillion. Yes, we did it. What was it? Late Thursday. We rolled over $36 trillion, and for the 7th straight year in a row. I think, and I only say that it's 7 years in a row because I think that's when we finally started asking them to do it. The Department of Defense has failed its annual financial statement audit. Yep. Unfortunately, they couldn't quite pull it off. So here we are. We spend just under $1 trillion a year with the Defense Department. And unfortunately, we cannot get them to actually pass an audit. This year's audit, like the 6th before it, exposed persistent challenges to the Department of Defense financial management system. A team of auditors conducted hundreds of site visits assessing how the DoD manages taxpayer dollars from across its operation, which spanned more than 4,000 sites in more than 160 countries. Now, I don't know, call me crazy, but maybe if we weren't in 160 countries and there wasn't 4,000 sites, we could pass it on. If we said to the Department of Defense, okay, you don't get any more money until you pass these audits, why do I feel like Jason things could get done? Instead, right, you didn't pass again? It's okay. Don't worry about it. But they also had 28 sub-audits across all kinds of different things. They said that, once again, Jason, it was a big, epic failure. They don't know where any of the money is.
I saw a clip with Warren Buffett over the weekend. I don't know how old the clip is, but he was... the Department of Efficiency is going to slow down the debt, pay off the national debt. I've been seeing that Elon Musk is going to do the impossible. But I saw this old clip from Warren Buffett. He's like, we could stop the deficit this year. He's like, you just have the Congress pass a law that says if it gets to be 3%, like if the debt's going to grow, a couple of points, that it immediately upon that the deficit going up that year, all Congress people can no longer run for re-election. He said that they'd fix that deficit really quick. And it's like, you know what? I never thought of it that way. They put a law in place that if there's a deficit, all Congress people no longer can run for re-election. And, boy, they probably fix that thing quick.
It's kind of like the global warming stuff, right? All of these guys fly it on their private jets. They all own yachts, right? I mean, when you talk about the worst of the worst in polluting, that's what these guys do, and yet they're telling us, right, everyone's going to die, but it's okay if we do it. You guys just can't do it, right? That's kind of the same thing here. It actually, Warren Buffett's right. This is very simple. It's easy. Just make it a law. You can't spend more than you take in. Period. End of discussion. Figure it out. Yep. If we take in $5 trillion, you can only spend $5 trillion. Right?
Yep.
And now listen. Let's just be reality. They don't want that. They even said, they've decided, they come up with great numbers. Like, somehow 2% inflation's okay. And 3% debt to GDP is okay. Of course, what happens when they go over it? 800-951-0592. Gold and silver bouncing hard today. Gold up 50, silver up $1. And I'm just going to say, again, silver's had a good year. It really has. But it's got a long way to go. Get some. Unprecedented demand, according to the London Bullion Association data. So this isn't speculators. This is data of actual silver leaving the vaults. Of course, London is still, it's it's probably the only thing that London is kind of like the leader of. And that is the gold and silver, the precious metals markets. Of course, Shanghai is making a play, and of course we have one in New York, the COMEX, but it really comes out of London. They said that no November deliveries, so we're only halfway through, but it's the 18th of November today, has already eclipsed October's massive withdrawals. And I bring this up because this is the pattern we expect. Every time, at least for the immediate future. What is that? What are we talking about, the immediate future? Probably for the next 5 years at least. And that's a long time. Every pullback is going to be met with massive withdrawals. It's just going to be. Especially for silver. Why? Because there's not enough. There's not. It's easy math. It's simple math. They said the surge in physical demand, driven by industrial needs and investor appetite, which is rapidly depleting all above ground silver stocks, all of it. And they're saying that, Jason, they're calling this, it's the perfect storm. It's a structural deficit, demand continuing to outpace, and then China, it just blows my mind what is going on in China right now. Demand for silver is skyrocketing, and they're saying that they're just industrial silver demand 9,000 tons per year. And it's just, it really, truly is mind-blowing. And they're saying that China has been buying the silver market, and we've been telling you this. But they're saying that They're talking about wanting to boost inventories from 3 to 3,000 tons of gold and 10,000 tons of silver. Now, right now, China's official gold holdings, of course, that's just official, not the unofficial, is about 2,200 tons. They are now the second country behind Russia to announce they are now going to have a silver stockpile, and they're being saying that they want to accumulate 10,000 tons of silver for their stockpile. By the way, right now, just to give you an idea, China's consuming 9,000 metric tons, so that 10,000 tons would be about a 1-year supply of silver for China, Jason. Of course, China, the largest silver consumer in the world as well. But I'm just telling everybody right now, $31 silver, it's an absolute steal. Buy it and buy all that you can, and within a reasonable amount. Let's face it, silver's still bulky, it's heavy, it's hard to store, but Jason, you got to have it in your portfolio. You just do.
Yeah, and each individual, I guess, well, whatever your situation is, yeah, you're right. You better be able to, if you're going to buy a lot of silver, be able to move it around, because what is a Green Monster box? How heavy is that thing? Is that 42 pounds for 500 ounces?
42 pounds, yep. 42 pounds.
So you got to be able to move that stuff around, man. There's nothing like trying to pick up a monster box off the floor. You know, you can try to get your fingers under that thing. But as long as you've got a good place to store it, silver's a great way to go. And everybody's different, Joe. But I've always, when the customers, sometimes we get new customers, what do I do? Should I buy silver? Should I buy gold? Anybody that's new to it, and depending on if you have a modest amount that you're buying, if you're somebody who's going to buy a huge amount, it's time to get gold. But I always advise you get about 500 ounces, maybe get 1,000 ounces of silver, and then at that point, it's time to get gold. So if you've got a couple rolls of quarters, you got a couple rolls of silver eagles, whatever it is your silver is, keep on stacking it up. It's always good to have a good chunk of silver, Joe, because it goes hand in hand. It's a good complement to gold. It's good to have both, absolutely.
Yeah, and you bring up a great point, especially as you get older. Listen, lifting 42 pounds at 40 or 50, not a big deal. Lifting 42 pounds at 70, 80, 90, yeah, big deal. Big deal. Gold is when we build portfolios, we're like the 90-10 guys. 90% gold, maybe 10% silver. To Jason's point, especially if you're doing a bit, let's say, hey, you're going to buy $1 million. You say, hey, I'm going to diversify, Joe. I'm going to take $1 million. I'm going to put it into gold and silver. Build it for me. Jason nailed it. You're going to get 2 cases of silver. The rest of it is going to be put into gold. We'll get, you get some 10th ounce, you'll get some 20s, right? Some 10s, some of that fractional stuff. Why? But why? And the answer really is simple. $1 million worth of gold could go in your wife's purse and nobody would know. You know what's so funny is I used to say when I started doing this decades ago, $1 million worth of gold will fit in your wife's shoebox. Guess what? And there'd been room left over, by the way, in the shoebox. Now we're down to, it'll fit in your wife's purse. Pretty soon, right, it's going to be $1 million worth of gold, and between you and your wife, you can put them in your pockets, right? I mean, this is what we're getting to. It is very easy. If you got a bug out for whatever reason, you got $1 million worth of silver, you better have a forklift of some kind, right? It's going to take you a while to load all that up. $1 million worth of gold, boom. You throw it in your wife's purse, you're out the door. 800-951-0592. Jason and I, we're going to be right back after the break. 800-951-0592. Joe and Jason on this Monday. Going to give you a couple of opportunities on the silver side. Right now, U.S. Silver Eagles, $7.65 a roll. Cases of silver, that's the green monster box, the one that weighs 42 pounds, $19,000. By the way, silver goes up another dollar tomorrow, right? Here you go, right? Add another $500 to that. But here's the deal. The silver $half rolls. So give you an opportunity. Pre-1965 silver $half at $750 a roll. That is the same price as a roll of silver quarters. And it's over $3 an ounce, almost $3.30 an ounce less per ounce of silver than the Silver Eagles are. So you're going to be able to accumulate some more silver for the same amount of money. $250 on rolls of 20 silver $half. You know, some people call it junk silver, utility silver. These are coins that were used. They were used as money. They're in good shape, but they're older, right? I mean, 1964 and older silver $half, about 7.15 ounces of silver in every roll. So you're paying less than $35 an ounce right now to acquire it at $250 a roll. Then on the gold side, U.S. $20 gold pieces. Take advantage of the pull. Just like we said, too. Remember we told you the premiums were going to go up? Boy, have they. Absolutely gone up. But we still are got a great opportunity. 1 through 19 on $20 gold. 1 through 19. $27.95. $2,795. You know, you got silver sitting here, almost $2,620, so it's still a great deal. Tell you what, though, you buy 20 or more, $2,775 at 800-951-0592. Take the time, keep adding to your portfolios. Like I said, we really only got a couple of choices. Inflate. Right? Remember Jamie Dimon, he says, that's what I'm going to vote for. I want us to inflate. Because he goes, we can't afford the debt we already have. And we know we've got monster deficits in our future. Listen, we're never going to go below $2 trillion. I don't think in our lifetime ever again. I don't think so. The question is, how many years does it take us to get to $4 trillion a year? That's really the question. And he's saying we need to inflate. Why do you think he keeps saying that? Don't be surprised, 10-year note could be 8%. Why? Why would it be 8? Why? They're rate cutting. Why is it going up? Because he gets it. He knows. Hey, they're going to keep spending money. And the only hope we have is inflation. The problem is, what will Wall Street do? So if you have gold and silver running, Wall Street running, 10-year yields running, they call that inflation. If you have gold and silver running, the 10-year note running, but Wall Street is flat or, heaven forbid, down, then they change the word to stagflation, which just means it's inflation, but yet the stock market isn't going up. Right? I mean, really, that's in simplest terms. That's really how that's not how I would define it, but that's how they define it, Jason. And Jamie Dimon is saying, well, we're going to get one of those two things. But that's it. There's not a third thing, and there's no soft landing.
And what will happen as time goes on is the people that have very little, savings, no assets. They're going to end up purchasing only those things that they have to purchase. You don't have to have an Apple computer or even internet. So what Warren Buffett sells is Apple stock, right, Joe? You don't have to deal with, his bank stocks and the banks. You're going to have to put your money where you need it. And if I'll say this, hard assets like gold and silver and commodities, food, property, these things are going to weather whatever storm is coming. If it takes 6 months for this thing to collapse, or if it takes a year, it's not going to matter how big these assets. Look what he's doing. He's selling. The stock market's going up, and the biggest players are selling. It's the peanut butter jar, Joe. I keep telling people, all the peanut butter jar belongs to these rich guys, the bankers, corporatists. And they pull the peanut butter jar. When you get a crash cycle, a boom cycle, they put the peanut butter in. A crash cycle, they take it out. And all that stuff stuck to the side was everybody else getting a little bit. The guy that was able to buy, $500 in Bitcoin. You have that peanut butter stuck to the side. What's going to happen? The markets crash. The markets are very sensitive. Bitcoin's very sensitive to the markets. When things go down hard, and they will at some point, will it take 6 months or 12 months? Will it be 3 months? It's going to happen because the people at the bottom aren't going to be able to buy those things that are luxuries, right, Joe? I'm not going to buy a brand new car. It's $80,000. I'm going to buy a junker over here. That's $10,000, and that's where we're headed for. People cannot afford these things. To get on a cruise and live on a cruise ship, that's a sign of things that aren't good.
It's only $40,000, right? Patriot Radio News Hour, final segment. We get back. 800-951-0592. Get diversified. The big bounce. We've been wondering what day it was going to be. Well, it was today. Gold's up 50. Just under $2,615. Silver's up $1, $1, $31.20. Silver $0.50 rolls $250. That's $3.30 less than the ounce of silver eagles. $20 gold. I don't know for how much longer we're going to be able to stay this close to spot. As I said, premiums, in which we told you. As soon as it's over, right, they're going back. $2,795. If you buy 20 or more of them, $2,775 at 800-951-0592. And really quickly, another reason why more inflation is coming. We know the tariffs are coming. Here's a list of, we import about $3 trillion into the U.S., just so you can, kind of give you an idea. $3 trillion. Number one thing, we import cars. Number two, pharmaceuticals. Uh-oh. What do you think's going to happen? They're going to put tariffs on them and it's going to cost less? Next, crude oil. Right? Because, we need crude. That's how big crude oil is, such a big number. Guess what's after that? Automotive parts and accessories. Next, cell phones and other household goods. Electrical apparatuses is next. By the way, that's about $100 billion. Electrical apparatuses. Computers. Telecommunication equipment. We finally get down to an other industrial machinery, semiconductors. So, Jason, as you can see, right, when you look at, okay, where's all the imports coming from? It's all the stuff we buy, pretty much, with the exception of a couple of things. It's pretty easy to see what's going to be happening early on in 2025.
Yeah, let's see what happens, Joe. Let's see what happens. It doesn't look good, does it? There's Yeah,
I think it looks great. It looks great for gold and silver. That's all I'm saying. I don't know about everything else. Listen, I don't know about everything else. It looks great for gold and silver.
Yeah, I think there's going to be an inflation of all things. And then when the money, like your stagflation you're talking about, Joe, when that really starts to people start to suffer greatly, then you're going to see a sell-off of a whole lot of stuff. And we'll see what has value then, right, Joe? We'll see what it's so fun to watch stuff in the markets and, crypto's going up and stocks and this going up and people getting all excited. But it's only good if you're so lucky or smart to buy at the right time and sell it at the right time.
Yeah.
It is gambling. Investment is gambling, but what you're trying to do is put together the smartest idea on how to buy something at a right price, and then you have to get out. Gold and silver is savings. That's where you put it there, so you can sit there safe while you're trying to figure it out, right, Joe? I'm not against investing, but I don't want to have my money saved in cash in the bank. That's for sure. You're losing in your savings if you don't put it in gold and silver.
800-951-0592. Jason and I, we're coming right back with the half-empty